Jeffrey Epstein's own brother just said what millions have been thinking, that Donald Trump might have had him killed. Now, again, I'm not saying this. Jeffrey Epstein's brother said this, and he said it straight to Piers Morgan's face. Mark Epstein, brother of Jeffrey Epstein, came on Piers Morgan Uncensored, and he named names. He said Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Russell Vought, all of them Trump allies, all of them connected to the Epstein case. And then he said what a lot of us saw as the quiet part. He said, if they're covering up for somebody, who do you think that might be? Now, as you know, Jeffrey Epstein died in federal custody in 2019. The official story was that he unalived himself. But from day one, it ain't smell right to most of us. No cameras. The guards were asleep. Broken bones in the neck from being hanged. It never fully added up. Now, Trump's people shut down the idea of a client list. They're saying not that they can't find a client list or the client list is being investigated. They're saying there wasn't one. They dismissed all the talk of blackmail, and they said that there is no, quote, credible evidence of anything shady. Of course, Elon Musk, who was in a deep bromance with Donald Trump but fell out of it, he called foul. He's not buying it. He says it's because Trump is on the list. That's his case. That's his take, not mine. But even the MAGA people are starting to speak out because, you know, don't nobody love a good conspiracy like a MAGA person. And don't nobody love a messy, deep state conspiracy like MAGA people. So they think Trump is covering something up. And his brother, Mark Epstein's brother, said, look, don't rule anything out, especially Trump himself. Trump says there's nothing to see, but the silence from his camp, it is deafening at this point. Piers Morgan asked the question out loud. He said, do you think they're covering up for Trump? Now, it's the right question. Once in a while, Piers, right. I want you to hear what Mark Epstein's response was before I bring in the big dogs. All right, check this out, though. I apologize for a little tech problem. I ain't been to work in like a week, so, you know, I get confused easy. Actually, I always got confused easy. Anyway, here we go. Check this out.
Message, Mark, to President Trump.
Let me finish. You got Bondi, you got Patel, you got Barr. All of these people work for Trump, okay? So if they're covering up for somebody, who do you think they might be covering up for?
So you think they're covering up for President Trump?
People look at all of us. Everybody is looking at little pieces of this and coming up with kind of theories. But people really take the time, because there's a lot of facts, there's a lot of information. People who take the time and really investigate this thoroughly all come to the pretty much conclusion that maybe Trump was behind this.
Wow.
Maybe Jeff was killed to quiet him.
You think President Trump has something to do with Epstein, with your brother being killed?
I wouldn't write that off.
Exactly. Don't make it
because
sound
if you
crazy.
look at all of the evidence we have and all of the facts, not opinions, and all of the facts, that wouldn't be something I would dismiss.
I mean, that's an extraordinary thing to say, but there is zero evidence that Donald Trump had anything to do with your brother's death.
Well, somebody did. And who, again, if you look at it's sort of maybe circumstantial, but if you look at all the people trying to make it look like a suicide, look, they just released a video of the door, up to the tier, and they're trying to make people think that that was the door to the cell, showing that nobody went in or out of the cell. The video that was recently released was a door to the tier, the one that Bill Barr referred to. Now, here's an interesting fact. I asked years ago for the videotape from that very camera from 10 o'clock at night, the night before, until noon the morning that he was found. Because that would show who the last people on the tier were when they left and locked up the tier. And it would also show the condition and the circumstances when they took his body off of the tier to the infirmary. I also want to see the video from the infirmary. I haven't been able to get anything. I was initially told that I couldn't get it because it was an active investigation, so I couldn't get access to it. After the investigation was over, I asked again, okay? And I have in writing a letter from the...
See, this is where it gets difficult, right? because there's a way that even Piers is engaging this that makes the dude sound like he's a crazy person or like he's stretching the boundaries of credulity. And it's not the case. This is entirely reasonable. It's entirely reasonable. It may even be the most likely circumstance. I'm not making any accusations. I'm only saying I get how somebody could end up there. Bill at the Bunny said, please, God, do not let my brother look to expose my killer on Piers Morgan. The sad part is that might be your only option if it's a deep state involvement. The Epstein case is not just about one or two people. The Epstein case is about deep amounts of harm done to the most vulnerable people in our society, done by the most powerful people in our society. So the powerful are going to do everything they can to cover it up. That's just a fact. I don't know who's on that list. I don't know if anybody y'all care about is on this. I don't know. But what I do know is there's more to the story than meets the eye.